Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So today I'm going to be building something a little bit different. This is what I did last week. It is basically a sports sedan, like a big sports sedan. I'm very happy with it. This week I'm going to try to do something equally as detailed, hopefully more so, because we're going to be going into Fallout. Specifically Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I like 4. 4 is a lot of fun, but 3 is my favorite Fallout game. I know the comments are coming in right now, what the heck is wrong with you, but 3 is my favorite. I haven't played enough New Vegas to win me over. I know, like, I have played through New Vegas, but I've played through 3 times probably, and I'm about to do a 4th, so I don't know. 3 just sticks with me. New Vegas is great. 4 is also good. And that's all the Fallouts I've played, unfortunately. But I've always been interested in the world, and one of the cool things about New Vegas and 3 is their cars. I know that's not something we really think about too much unless you accidentally get blown up by one and you have to reload a save. But Fallout 3 and New Vegas are very similar games. They're basically built on the same platform, using the same assets, although New Vegas does add things. So a lot of things are shared between the two, so for the sake of this, I'm going to say 3, but I mean both. Nuclear-powered cars are a thing in the Fallout universe, and that's why they blow up so good when you accidentally hit them with too much gunfire or a stray grenade or something like that. And what that means is we can get into some very interesting stuff with the design, and that's basically what the designers have done in the games. Check out some of these concept screenshots. It's just cool stuff. I absolutely love looking at these kind of things. So what I'm going to attempt to do is build my own Fallout style vehicle, and it's going to be based on these concept drawings and some of the screenshots and models from in-game, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, what would a Fallout car look like in the Automation universe? Let's pretend that there's some crossover going on here. Okay, I changed the date down to 1950. I just wanted to scroll all the bodies and kind of see what we're working with, but we're very firmly in the atomic era. Like, this type of thing is very prime for this. This car actually might be a perfect basis to build this coupe off of. Or this lead sled here, that would be sweet. Gotta be honest with you, my knowledge of cars from this time period are pretty limited. I'm not exactly a connoisseur of old vehicles, but I like the aesthetics, and that's really all that we're going for here. The engine and stuff doesn't really matter. In fact, I might just make it a modern engine just for the fun of it. But I'm going to go for the long wheelbase version of this. I think that this is going to be our perfect starting base. That is a classic looking beast there, and it's wide, it's long, it's going to be good. Now the car that I'm basing this off of is actually a coupe, and it has 6 wheels and a nuclear reactor in the back, as per that concept drawing, but I'm not going to go for that specific style in this one. It's going to have to be my own design. I'll never be able to recreate that perfectly. Okay, so it's 1950, but we're thinking about the future. It's got to be future. What would these cars actually be made out of? And looking at them, they do have rust on them. At least a little bit. They're not exactly rusting into the ground, but I mean, the wheels and stuff are all gone on them. I'm going to make some assumptions here, and I'm going to do it without checking on the lore, but please feel free to let me know in the comments if there's actually lore on this. I'm going to say these cars are made out of steel. The Brotherhood of Steel approves. Now, old cars were generally built like trucks, and so I'm going to build this one like a truck because it needs to be able to support a nuclear reactor in the back. That's what's going to be going right here. That means ladder chassis. We'll make it out of steel again. Everything is steel. Realistically speaking, these cars were rear-engine nuclear reacting vehicles. So we're going to go for a rear longitudinal engine. The engine is going to be in the back, which is pretty funky and it's very strange. It's essentially a Corvair. So this long hood up front is kind of useless. There's nothing there. I'm just going to go, okay, looks like we can only have wishbone on the back and coils in the front is probably fine. Yeah, it is what it is. We're not going to be able to achieve perfect stuff here. Okay, it's a little bit taller than I hoped it would be. I might have to fix that. But there is a coupe variant, although it looks really awkward. I wonder... No, there's really not much I can do with that, unfortunately. So we're going to keep 4 doors. I don't know, it's just cooler. Now that is funky, but I don't think I can get away with it. I'm going to flatten that and bring that in as much as possible in order to fit a larger nuclear reactor on the back. I'm also going to extend out the back as much as I can. Just going to give her a little bit of width on the fenders, nothing crazy. Just because I like wide cars. I don't know, that's just me. I kind of like the bulbous look of this car. That's probably not the right way to say that, but it's just a big car. It's very swoopy. It's got some curves on it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Okay, for the lights and stuff, I'm gonna try to ape this 3D model of the car. We're gonna be essentially copying this front end exactly as much as I can, chrome included. Now, long hood I think is important too. The car just needs to be way longer than it really should be. And then with that, I might be done. There we go. Round that out. She good. Oh man, there's a pickup truck variant, but you can't have an engine in the back with the pickup truck. Man, that is unfortunate, because that would be a sweet, sweet ride. Hold on a minute, I have to reconsider how realistic we want this to be. Okay, you know what? For this variant, rear engine. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking to my guns, rear engine. Next time, maybe pickup truck variant. We'll put an engine in the front of this one. I think that'll be fine. That should be good for this build, but let me know if you want to see this. Okay, coloring. Ooh, yes, very important. When I think coloring for this stuff, I'm thinking like the fridge, basically, in Fallout. What would that look like? Pretty much everything in these games has kind of a brown tint to it, so it's hard to tell of the actual colors and the vibrance, but that's their attempt at making everything irradiated, and it's a wasteland. But it seems like a lot of these cars are green or like blue. It's 50s colors. Stuff like pale blues, like this, which actually looks really good. Maybe a pale green? A little bit more minty? Mint green. Now that is classic. I really like the mint green, so I'm gonna stick with it. Mint green color. I always go medium shine, no flake. I just find the flake just doesn't look quite right in this game. And then just shine is just, it's too shiny. So medium shine, no flake. Green it is. Very important color is chrome. Chrome is very important for this type of thing, and chrome was huge back in these days, so chrome it is. Going for a slightly light gray chrome. That'll hopefully just keep it from going white in beamng. So I put a little extra detail into this. The exhaust is chrome, although we have no exhaust yet. The underside of the car is currently chrome as well, but I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm just gonna make it steel. So this color here for the running gear, which you can see is sort of a darker, hopefully newish looking steel. There we go, chassis, steel, not chrome. It doesn't make any sense. The wheels are just going to be straight up chrome as well. I don't see wheels in these, but yeah, the designs are very of the time, so I'm going to just assume that that's what I'm going to have to go with as well. But yeah, that should be it for coloring. Should be fine. Onto the fixtures. Actually, let me skip ahead. I want to do engine first. Rear wheel drive, brand new project, manually created. Now, I was thinking about just doing like a 2020 engine, because it's supposed to be, I don't know, it's supposed to be a nuclear reactor. Like, that's stuff that we don't even have modern day nuclear powered cars. It's retro future, obviously. Okay, odd justification, but 2020 engine it is. This basically just gives me more options. But I will try to keep it fairly retro-ish. At the same time, there's not really going to be any point because we won't be able to make it truly nuclear powered. The engine does not really matter, admittedly. So naturally I'm going to give it just a cast iron pushrod, iron standard V8. Basic stuff. Except true to the time, I want to make it as large as it can be. Like, literally as large as it possibly can be. Also to simulate weight as well. So we're looking at... let me see, if I make that the same, so it's square, it's 11 liters of V8. That is huge. Unnecessarily huge, but huge indeed. And because it's a modern V8, we do get some modern conveniences as well. It could have VVT, but it's not going to. It could be supercharged or twin charged or whatever. It's not going to. You know what, let me put a carb on it, just for the fun of it. We'll put a twin carb on it. A little bit more period correct, I guess. Not really. More than fuel injection for sure. And leaded gasoline. Yes, please. Oh, that's a fiery looking engine there. I like it. I think that's going to be good. So it makes 498 horsepower before the crank explodes. That's actually decent power out of this. And that's more than I thought it would be. So I'm just going to tune this for... Well, we don't need to tune for the demographic. Let's tune for power. Who cares about economy? And it makes 435 with that tune. The thing is that the tunes always give a very low RPM limit. You can see the crank is already having issues, and the crank here again, so I probably need a better crank instead of just cast iron. Let's just do forged steel and be done with that. Okay, she makes 520 horsepower. That's enough for me. I think that's actually pretty much perfect. Everything is dying when you get up to that. 520 horsepower out of an 11 liter V8 is good enough. It's good enough. I also gave it only one muffler, so it should be fairly loud. And I'm just curious. Let's hear what it sounds like. Sounds like a V8. That's pretty much it. First muffler is out. We're going 533 horsepower. I want loud. I definitely didn't take advantage of it being a 2020 engine, but I think it's gonna be fine. That's good enough for this car. And also, that sucker's hanging out in the back, which is just so cool to me. Rear wheel drive, rear engine car. This can only go poorly. Let's do a manual 3. It's gonna be a 3 on the tree with this much power. I'm just gonna skip ahead through a lot of this and I'll have to come back. But let's just say most of this, I'm gonna give it a locker just for driving purposes, but most of this I'm just gonna skip through. It doesn't really matter. This is mostly an aesthetic build. Okay, that brings us back to the fixtures, which is pretty important, and basically the entire point of this build. Now, I want to make something cool, and it's gonna take me some time to do it. I've got about an hour, let's see what we can get done. First thing I want to do is put some wheels on it. These are not the right ones. The wheels are extremely small, you can't really see them anyway, so I think that's going to be good enough. I made the brakes as big as they can be, but it has a lot of braking issues because it's drums on both the front and the back. Thank you, 1950. 500 horsepower back then must have been insane. We're just going to assume the cars in the world of Fallout never stopped. Okay, here's where things can go either extremely right or extremely wrong. I'm always a little nervous to get into this stuff, but it's time to do some fixturing. There you go. We got lights, and they actually look pretty decent on there. That's not bad at all. Again, trying to ape the style of this 3D model without going completely copycat on it. Although, I think for the front end, I'm just gonna basically do what I see there with a few of my own touches. Oh, that's definitely something. That's something alright. What the heck am I doing? So looking at the concept version of this, I kind of feel that it needs to have those jut outs even if the actual model didn't end up having them. So I'm doing it. Okay, what is this? Well, I have gone ahead and done exactly what I said I would do. It took me a while, admittedly, to figure this out, but we now have lipstick tube things there, and now that I think about it, there used to be lipstick tube lights in this game. I probably could try to find those, but now we just have spikes. For now. Maybe I'll find those tubes at some point. Okay, front end is looking a little bit more front end like, and a lot more complicated, which is sort of what I was going for. Now, this is not going to be perfect, as I said. It's definitely going to be toned down, especially compared to the detail of the concept render, because that is way more detail than I could ever get in this game. Realistically, I could spend hours and hours trying to do it, but my time is limited, so I'm going for the slightly abridged version, which is also going to include some of these. Because you can extend them out, and they look pretty good as extended fender lights. Which means that my other indicators are probably not useful, but whatever. One of the things I want to do is duplicate this. Oh, it's not happy about it. Then shrink it. Well, it's not really working the way I'd hoped it would. But if I bring it out to the front, and we get rid of this part... yeah, I don't know, a little bit more definition. I don't know, I'm trying to do something else here. I'm also gonna go ahead and make these chrome. Just feel like they need to be chrome. They look really bad, oh my goodness. Okay, there's definitely more I can do here. Oh, look at that V8 just larking in the back. I love it. You'll notice on the front end of this car there's quite a few vents. Big vents on the sides. The wheels are also covered. I want to check the 3D model. Yeah, it looks like the wheel covers sort of did make it. So I will have to do something with that. And then I need big vents as well. Sort of on the fenders and the hood. And then a bump in the roof. and some door handles and all that, but I can skip some of the weird modern stuff that we would normally have, and I definitely need a lot of chrome trim. It's going to be a while before this is finished, but front end, done. So the scoops are going to be a little bit of a difficult thing because the fenders on this car are not flat, and the scoops definitely don't like that, as you can tell. Ugh, funky. I don't think I'm going to be able to get those scoops in the same way. It'll be a little bit different, because this car is just not that shape. Okay, we got vents. A few vents. Just a few. It's vented. Thoroughly vented luggage space, or whatever the heck is in here. Maybe fuel? Now, on the concept car, there is a big vent over on this side, whereas on the actual design, there is just a big chrome strip, probably easier to implement with a limited creation engine. It's always been limited. So let's, I don't know. I want to do the big vent. I'm going to try it. We'll see how it goes. Is this going to work? I am not super sure that it will. The main reason is that going over top of wheels is something that fixtures do not like to do. Maybe placed three-dimensionally. Yeah, that's probably the only way. You can see that this is not quite working the way it probably should. Okay, never mind. We'll just keep it simple. I would say that right now this car looks like it's just dressed up like a space-age 50s car. It doesn't quite look right yet, but I am working on that. I'm trying to make it so that the wheels are covered up decently. It's not fully covered, and it's not even half. It's like somewhere up above. Now, there are actual wheel covers in this game, but I have so many mods, I can't find them. So I'm looking. I will find them, but for now I might have to move on. I've done a few other little things just to keep me alive while I'm searching, but take a look at these. We got some wings on the back, we got door handles, we got trim, and vents, and all sorts of extra little details that I like to see. It's actually almost done, except for the nuclear reactor on the back and the entire back end and the sides. I gotta stay positive. I actually found them, the wheel covers, but apparently they don't work in anything not 3D, so it's kind of pointless. I just can't get it to work in any way in 2D, so yeah, here we are, 3D. May as well have just used a fixture, but here we go. I think that's gonna be good. The thickness that these have does make it a little bit easier to do this, which is good because I have to do the back as well. Okay, wheel covers on, and they look very obvious, but I think that's gonna have to be fine. There's only one color option for them, so it is what it is there. Now, I do want to copy the concept car in some ways, and the other one in some ways on the sides. I gotta show you what I'm talking about. You can see it on the 3D model, but the back end just behind the doors is a giant fender. Basically, it comes out around here and just like is huge. It's a giant intake for the nuclear reactor, and then along the bottom is a chrome strip, and the chrome strip continues up and over. But I think I'm just gonna be able to do. I might not be able to do the chrome strip around the wheel arches, just because that's gonna take 15 years. But I might be able to get it along the bottom and then into that big vent. So probably actually don't need these. There's gonna be a huge wheel vent there instead. Okay, so I actually came up with something pretty clever. At least I think it's fairly clever. Putting chrome around here, and then if we undo our wheel covers in here as well. Now, if I make this chrome, looks like a giant chrome wheel cover. It's not perfect, but I think that that sort of fills in the gaps, and it looks better than I thought it would. This is going to take me more time than necessary, but I feel like it's worth it. This car is going to be sweet. Now, some of you asked me to show a little bit more of my process, and that's what I'm doing in this video. The video is going to be very long, probably because of that, but you get more process. This is the kind of stuff I'm thinking about as I'm building. It's turning out good. I think it's turning out really nice. One thing, by the way, just don't ever forget this. I constantly forget. I'm always looking at the left or the right side, and I never look at the other side to see if it's actually mirrored. I have built things before where half the stuff is correct on one side, and then it's not on the other side. Because I have to go and mirror it, obviously, but sometimes you just miss things. Now, I can adjust all this stuff to match this new aesthetic I got going on. Man, oh man, love that, the way that front end has come together. Okay, let's do this sort of side piece here. This fender liner thing at the back is going to be a little bit funky, and then I want to add a little more detail here if necessary. Now the easy way to do this is basically to go to the 3D stuff. There are these big body kit pieces, and these things are cool, but I'm not sure that any of them are going to fit what I'm looking for here. It's going to be a little bit awkward, so bear with me for a second. Okay, one of them is placed here now. Can I move it into place? The answer is no, sir. So I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to put gigantic box fenders on it, because that's what's going to work for this. Now, I am just going to ignore the wheels and cover over them, because I think that's what's necessary here. Now, I could go for something like this, a little bit more shallow. Something like this as well would probably work. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's make this work. This door handle doesn't need to be here. Okay, we got a giant fender right here and there. I think that's pretty much the perfect spot, but the issue now is, does that stick out too much? And I'm gonna have to hide these wheels in the back, possibly bringing them out with the custom tools. And then I also need to fill all this back fender in somehow, so leave it with me. I'll be back in a second. Okay, how's that for some sci-fi looking stuff there? Now I know that this bubbles out, and it doesn't necessarily need to. It just sort of fits better that way. If I inverted it, I guess I could probably get the same result, but then it's going to look a little bit funky. And now I need to figure out how to undo that. There we go. Got me worried. It took me a while to get those lined up, but that is some funk. We got very straight sections here. It's basically a big box, and then I had to fill it in with something, so this is what it's got filled with. This is what it looks like without that, by the way. But having that bump there sort of matches the front, and that means I have an opportunity to make this chrome as well, which is going to be sweet. Now, I think if I put it in close like this, it doesn't quite work. That's why it's not like this. Okay, there it is. I'm going to stop messing with that. It's taking me way too long to figure that out. Now, obviously, that means I have to do some blending and stuff at the back, but I have that option thanks to these big pieces here, which can kind of come out on the sides, and I want them to line up like this as well, so that is pretty much perfect. So on the actual 3D model in the game at the back, there are these antenna-looking things. It's not quite what I have here, but I'm going to try to recreate them, except mine are going to be a little bit more like the concept car, where they sort of fan out at the back, and then they have their like bulb things on the top there. It's supposed to look like a fighter jet. That's what I'm going for. Now, one thing about the back that is interesting is their car sort of comes out to a point. Mine does not currently do that. Obviously, I have a big square at the back, so I'm going to have to bring this in and turn it into a big point, which is going to be difficult to do, but I'm hopeful that I can get that aesthetic down. This car is funky enough as is, but I know I can do more. I need to chrome this up as well. So as I finish the sides, I kind of need to work on some of the other stuff. Mainly the nuclear reactor, which is very key to this build, and hopefully will make it a little bit more interesting as well. I want to finish these tail pieces too. It's not quite in the place that it needs to be. There's still a decent amount of stuff left to do on this car, but it's coming together. I did end up making a few changes. You can kind of see them reflected in the top of this, which is unfortunate, but I can't get it to line up perfectly. I essentially have these boxes sort of, you can see it easily with this sort of angle here, where these are sort of flat, and then these are angled in, and I'm hopeful that that'll let me get a better like point on the end of this car, because that's going to be tough to do, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, I want to do the back end. It's pretty important that I get this right. The fin choices we have in this game are pretty sweet, but there's nothing quite right. I mean, I guess these are pretty close. I'm not super worried about this because I really think that this entire back end is going to end up being just extended with fixtures. But I want to put some torpedo-ish things on there, and then I got to work on this nuke. Let's do some show instead of just telling. It's time to build something. Okay, so on the concept car where I have sort of a top-down view, I'm sort of envisioning what this looks like. And we could basically just disregard the trunk. Who cares about that at this point? I need to just make sort of a pop-up, and then sort of, I'm doing this with my hands, you can't even see, a sort of guide down this way to sort of streamline the back. this car is definitely turning out a little bit different than I thought it would, but hopefully you're enjoying this build all the same. In order to get that sort of guide piece that I want, I think I'm going to have to use vents, just very large vents. Essentially all I'm doing is just taking a vent piece like this and then sort of making it larger, quite a bit larger. Yeah, so the name of the game is definitely layers. I've got this pointed one here, which is just so cool because now I can take this molding and just duplicate it, shrink it down considerably, and I don't need two of them, so run it up. Look at that. Right in the middle. And now we have a split rear window. Isn't that cool? That's just so cool. Okay, I'm lame. Let me finish this. So my nuclear reactor is being built up in layers, as you know, and I have come up with basically this so far. We got our split back window, we got a bump in the hood that is very dramatic, probably too dramatic. Let me shrink that a little bit. There you go. Fairly dramatic bump in the hood. Now I need a circular piece to act as my reactor core, I guess is what it is. I don't know. There's a couple of ways to do this. I have about 3 or 4 in mind. One of which is basically just to take a fixture such as like this and blow it up to be huge. So if I take something like this little keyhole, there it is, it's quite a small piece. If we bring it all the way to the front, it should be able to get large enough to be a reactor core. That's pretty cool. It's not quite right. I'm gonna have to place it three-dimensionally and just sort of angle it. And just like that. There we go. Reactor core. It's pretty easy to do, just having a nice little circle there. I love it. I like it a lot. Okay, more details required. That's not enough. So instead of just copying what they have for their reactor core, I'm going to do my own thing because I've got some interesting ideas. One of which is basically to take vents like this, although they cannot... Oh wait, there we go. Make them basically through all of the layers, and then I'm hopeful that I can make these into exhausts. Okay, so we have the ducts in place. I like where that is. And what I'm basically going to do, I'm hopeful that the exhaust will actually join up to these, is make a smokestack. So all I really need to do is just take sort of an angled dump, and then, I can't see anything. Okay, hold on. Yeah, we'll take our angled dump pipe, and now you can see it a little bit easier. Rotate her around, and you can see it's actually connected to the exhaust, so that means I'm doing something right. And essentially just put it out here, just like that. That is so darn cool. Is it realistic? No, but it is cool, and so I'm gonna keep it. Also, this is what the car looks like without any body on it. You can see every fixture I've added. A little bit of time has passed, and I've done some things to the car, but I need to be more quiet because my son is asleep in the room next to me. But I've added a little bit more detail to the nuclear reactor. These are running lights, so it's going to glow red, and this little light in here is as well, and I added just another layer of stuff going on here. We still have our exhaust pipes and stuff, which is cool. I think these should be chrome, and then maybe the surround of this should be chrome as well. I just want to give, like, slightly less... I don't know, like slightly less green going on here. It needs a little bit of something different. I should mention I have my copy of Fallout 3 leaning against my monitor because, yeah, I am trying to pull that inspiration. Here's something I've been thinking about. We need sort of a long drawn out and a center fin, so I'm going to take one of these, or I guess I'm going to take both, and put them up like that. Holy smokes. Now if you're looking for an antenna for your car, that is an interesting way to do it, but not this time. Okay, I managed to fix it. I was worrying. So if I leave this out there, it's going to be very, very long, so that's not going to work. Just have to shrink it up a little bit. And our center fin is in. This is looking good. This car to me just feels like somebody went a little too hard at the accessories section in a parts store. Like that's essentially what's been going on here. There's so much chrome, so much random stuff. It's like you took an actual 50s car and just started blasting it. Looks like the front end somehow fixed itself at some point. I've reloaded and unloaded the game and now it's working. Okay, I've gone ahead and created something I think is kind of interesting. It's not quite perfect, especially not to what the design has, but I've got 2 bullets lined up here and they are serving as our sort of what do you call these? Like the tips of the tail fins on a jet? I think that's kind of what that is. Also, I don't like this roof vent. I gotta do something different. Okay, time for the difficult part. This is the part of the car that really separates it from your average Cuban taxi. I need to make this car have a bullet-style rear end, and yeah, it's going to be sort of a jet exit port, I guess? That's what it's looking like. So, let me see what I can do here. We need some bumpers, and I need to fill this in most of all. I think that's the most important part. Can I somehow sneak a Mitsubishi grill under this car? Are you even going to notice? Okay, at this point, you're all familiar with the front of the car. You've seen this, you know what this looks like. And now, let me introduce you to the back. I do want to say that part of this video, and a lot of the point of it has been to actually show you my process in designing stuff, even if it doesn't come out good. Generally speaking, the more fixtures I put on something, the worse it is. But I want to introduce you to the back, and you'll probably notice a few changes right out of the gate. There's a lot going on back here. It's not quite done yet. I want to fill in these gaps, but I was like, okay, why don't I try to extend this out? Maybe that doesn't work. I don't know, but I kind of need to fill in that gap somehow, so this is sort of what I've come up with. I actually don't hate this either, so maybe without those pieces it's better, but you can see how things are sort of forming together here, and it's basically just a gigantic chrome-like amalgamation. There's not much to look at, so I have to break this up, and I also need to fill in this little gap. And then there's a few other small things to do, but it's almost finished now. It's actually legitimately almost done. I also, yeah, I don't know. I've made this thing here iridescent. I'm not super happy with that. I might just make it transparent or something and then put something behind it, because I'm just not pleased with the way that this has come out. I know it needs more, but it also needs less? Question mark? Okay, there's your slightly improved rear end look. It's not perfect by any means, and I'm still working on it. These things I want to make into lights. I mean, you can make them brake lights or reverse lights or whatever, but it's not, yeah, it's not really coming together the way I'd hoped it would. Still got more work to do here. It's been like 2.5 hours. Okay, I'm getting to the point where there isn't really much more I can do without just ruining what I already have. So the back end has been adjusted fairly significantly, simplified, blackened out in a lot of cases. I basically just tried to make it less chrome, although I think I might just quickly test this one. That is quite a bit less chrome as well there. I don't know. I'm still... yeah, I don't know. I'm still experimenting, and I probably shouldn't be. It's time to wrap this thing up, isn't it? So yeah, that is a nuclear reactor rear end as designed and created by me, in a unique way. It's very minty. This car is quite odd. It's basically like, oh, this is kind of somewhat realistic. This is something that could be plausibly built, and then you start to go around the back, and this is like a texture abomination. I really want to see this in the photo scene. Okay, the photo scene hates me in all aspects, but essentially this is what the car's looking like with lights turned on. Looks pretty interesting. It's definitely a unique vehicle, and it won't let me turn it quite properly either. Ah, never mind. Finally let me do it. That is so darn shiny. Okay, I want to see it in the dark. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty menacing. It's extremely dark in this photo scene, so there isn't anything at all to see there. That is a cosmic horror. Okay, I'm done. I'm definitely done. There's no more that I need to do here before just making this thing worse and worse. That is it. It's time to actually give this a bit of a drivetrain here, and honestly, not any of this really matters. I just want to see this abomination in BeamNG and see what it turns out like. We're gonna have to go to the Mojave Wasteland, I think. I don't think we have a Capital Wasteland equivalent in BeamNG. Obviously the brakes are ridiculously weak, so I'm just gonna make them a lot stronger because they're currently just not gonna function at all. There we go, now we have somewhat braking. All of this other stuff really does not matter at all. Let's just get this thing into BeamNG and send it. So one thing I did do right on this car was the lights look fantastic. That centerpiece on the back should have definitely stayed chrome because it's just, I don't It's a bit of a black break. It's black paint in the back, and it doesn't look quite right. But everything else looks good. Now take a look at this. We've got glowing lights on the back because, of course, the front end is just normal stuff. But take a look. Headlights. And then these things glow on the back. If I do the brakes, center one is brakes. High beams. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. It's daytime, but you get the idea. It actually looks good. And exhaust fires right out the top of the trunk. So we have actual... Hold on, let me overheat on purpose. Piston rings damaged. Now it's belting smoke all over the place. Look at that. It looks so good. I'm so happy with the exhaust. That's probably like my pride and joy of this whole build. I'm so happy that it turned out like this. And I love when it smokes like crazy like that. I know the car is broken, but it's fun. Now, did I leave this thing as a 3-speed? Yeah, I did. Oh, jeez. Whoops. I totally meant to make it a 4-speed, but look at the speed and power we get still. Like, it's a 500 horsepower V8. That's enough. That is more than enough for this wasteland. Okay, so I spent a bunch of time taking pictures of this car, which is a good sign. That means I like it. Not always happening these days with the vehicles I make. It looks great in BeamNG. It looks better in Beam than it does in automation. Now, this is Johnson Valley. It's, I think, the closest I can get to the Mojave Wasteland or anywhere else Fallout related. I guess maybe Fallout 4 we could... Oh, we have nothing. East Coast USA? Now, this car makes a lot of power, and talking about it purely from a BeamNG perspective, it basically just smokes tires all day, which is fine. Ooh, wow. Maybe it's not so fine. It's actually not too bad off-road. It has good clearance. It does have cross-ply tires on it, because 1950. But they are intermediate tires. They're not just complete, like, drag or complete off-road. I tried to make it reasonably drivable everywhere, for better or worse. Now, I have some insane time in Johnson Valley because of doing a showcase here. This is one of my favorite maps in the game. Just being able to do off-road stuff and having this big on-road street we can run like this on. 270 kilometers an hour. Nothing for a vehicle like this. I would not want to do that in a 50s car. But hey, with nuclear-powered V8s, you never know. That's an interesting lore aspect, actually. How much power would a nuclear-powered car actually make, and what would that translate in terms of speed? Were those cars fast, or were they just really, really slow? I took a hit there, and I did a massive collision, but it's all good. Engine's a little damaged, one tire gone. She's back in action. That's 50 steel. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I've spent a lot of time on it, and I've been enjoying myself, and now I'm regretting that because of how much time I'm going to have to spend editing this, but it's all good. That's just how it goes. I think that this car turned out really cool. There's certain aspects of it that I like, and there's definitely some I don't like, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Let me know what you think about this 50s-ish Fallout Speedster. It was going to be a coupe, but it's a sedan. Did I do better than the actual team? Probably not. Oh, not a good off-road. At least not at 250. Yeah, where mistakes were made. Boys, if you've been watching this channel and my automation videos specifically, you know, last week I sort of announced I lost my job. Well, good news out of that is more videos. Bad news, I mean, jobless, but I do have some other interesting stuff going on. I got a couple interviews coming up, and I probably will have a job again soon. So this time when I'm unemployed, hopefully it will come to an end. YouTube just isn't where it needs to be a full-time career, so got a ways to go there, boys, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. I've been enjoying doing this. I want to keep going, so thank you for watching. Definitely subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and yeah, if you want to check out more of my automation stuff, there's tons of it. I have like 500 automation videos. Other than that, though, all you can really do is support me on Patreon or YouTube memberships. If you've already done everything else, that's the extra stuff that most people do not need to do. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Road to 100K, all this stuff going on. I'm losing my mind, it's been way too long. I'll see you again soon, very soon. And before somebody says, oh, you never locked the diff, let's just do it and see what it does. I like it. This thing is a drift machine. Okay, next week, probably gonna do a base model version of the car from last week. And then after that, maybe a pickup truck version of this. Who knows? If you guys are down, I'm down. I want to point out my favorite detail of this car, for the people who are sticking out to the very end. It's the back window. The split back window, the point on it. I absolutely love it. It's so cool. I'm definitely going to do stuff like that again in the future, because it's just a very neat little detail, and yeah. I also really like the front end. It's got a cheery little look to it. It's a cool car. I'm excited to show you guys. See you again next time.